Oh, hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? I can't keep blaming the baby. I was asleep. Oh, how's everyone? Yes, qualifying is delayed at the moment. If you're just joining us, guys, it has been delayed. Was supposed to start on the hour, but it looks like it is raining. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope everyone's all good. If you're just tuning in, Max Verstappen did indeed get a 5-second time penalty for that virtual safety car infringement. So he finished P4 in the end. So an additional point for Lando in this championship today. How long do we think will be delayed? No idea, Ollie. How long is a piece of string? It's still raining. It's very dark. But the thing is, at Interlagos, things can clear up very quickly. Bad news for Ferrari. Bad news for McLaren as well. I think McLaren would have hoped for dry conditions. Oh, further update on the hour. Risk of rain is 100%. Let's just show you this, guys. Hang on. Let's set this up for you guys so you're aware. Alright, so let's move that over. And then I can go there. There you go. 100% rain. It says here, further update at 3 o'clock. You're just wondering. But yeah, not looking. I mean, who knows? Qualifying may happen tomorrow morning. The way it's going. We'll see. We'll see. How's the baby? Yeah, she's all good. She's all good. Stuffeyy is the best. Oh, guys, thank you for 32,000 subs, by the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Still recovering from earlier on. Rain soon. It's raining now. 100% chance of rain right now. It is absolutely tipping it down there. So, bit too wet for the drivers to go out there. Another 2022 qualifying incoming. Maybe. With the heavy rain, I think it will be postponed for tomorrow. We'll see, Goonie. I mean, they're saying there's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of time left. Apparently, sunset's at 5:30 there. So, it's 3 o'clock there now. They need to make a decision, really, within the next hour. You would think. So, fix a sub goal. Oh, I do need to do that, actually. Yeah, I do. Thank you. Thank you. Bad. Do I think this season the stewards are doing all stuff it would have been different in 21 in reference to this season? Not necessarily, because we still saw Max get away with moving under braking in the Red Bull ring. If he'd stopped, if he was given a warning for moving under braking, then that whole Lando Max crash probably would never have happened. And then Circuit Americas as well. So the thing is, it's only because I think certain stewards are stewarding basically last week and this week, and they take a bit different view upon things. But this is the problem that that we have right now in F1 is that there's too many different stewards who have too many different ways of interpreting the rules and applying them. So we just need consistency. We need the same set of stewards week in, week out. So, is it really raining? If yes, how heavy? Yes, it is, and very heavy. I think it's going to be wet quality. It is to be honest too. It's like thunderstorms right now at at Brazil. So it is too much. It is too much, to be fair, for us to have a fair qualifying. Right, let's change this sub count, shall we? For this sub goal. Up to 33k now. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Herbert used to be a TV pundit. So he used to be a Formula 1 driver. Then he became a TV pundit. But then he left Sky. And he became a steward. So that's what he does, yeah. Johnny Herbert is one of the pundits, one of the stewards this week, yeah. But bearing in mind, there needs to kind of be unanimous decision on rulings as well. So it's not just him. There's 3 other stewards there this week, so. Did Max get the penalty? Yes, Max did get the penalty. So Lando finished an additional position ahead of Max because even though Lando won, Max got demoted to P4. So that means he has got additional points gained. So because of the sprint race, there's only 1 point difference between each position. Herbert tried to hit on my auntie whilst her husband was right next to her. Oh dear. That I cannot comment on. Oh, apparently they're saying it's quite a high chance. Could be coming back tomorrow for qualifying. That's what Sky TV is stating right now, due to the weather radar. Wow, we'll see how soon they decide to make that decision, guys. I'm good, Gavin. Hope you're well too. Wet qualifying mixed things up a lot, yeah. But supposedly the weather conditions tomorrow look like it could be quite similar. So we could get a wet qualifying tomorrow, guys, as well. Wet quali and race tomorrow. You can barely see out there. It's not even the fact of it it's raining heavy. It's the fact of it it's like really dark as well. So what does he do as a steward? I'm confused with TV. So as a TV pundit, you're just imparting your analysis and giving your comments about the racing. When you're a steward, you're working for the FIA and you're actually ruling on decisions. If anyone breaks the rules, then you deem whether they do or not as per the regulations. So why they made the wet tyres then? I mean, this is, if you saw the TV coverage right now, you would see that it is heavy. It is very heavy. I'll see if I can find an image on Twitter for you to give you kind of some context of how dark and wet it is right now out there. Let's see if I can find it. Oh no, don't get me done for copyright there. This is basically what you've got here. Like that's how, oh no, that's last season, sorry. But this is like what you got now. Heavens have opened up. Sorry, this is a bit skew-iffy. I'm just trying to give you guys a bit of context of how wet it is. I mean, look at that. High winds, raining. Not really suitable for F1 cars, even with wet weather tyres on at the moment, guys. So do I think we'll get pole position today? I don't think we're going to get, I mean, the way it's going at the moment, I mean, we're going to get an update in a few minutes' time in whether or not they're going to check if we're going to get qualifying. So yeah, there's plenty of images out there, guys, just to show exactly how dark it is out there. Interlagos is famous for this. Look, I mean, it really does come over very quickly. It can go just as quick as that as well. So, yeah, I mean, once the cars get out there, I think they can get out there when it's wet. It's just the fact of visibility. The main reason we don't have a lot of wet running now is because of the visibility issues. These cars are the biggest they've ever been. They, of course, provide the majority of their downforce through the underside of the car, so that throws off more spray than it did previously. And yeah, it's just the fact of how these cars are now these days. Like, the drivers can go out there in some of the worst conditions and actually run some laps, but it's the visibility that is a safety concern. Thank you for the 32k subs. Yes, much appreciated, guys. Thank you, thank you. Roof Poscom saying that Aston were running their high downforce package in anticipation for the rain. Ooh. Yeah, wet conditions will suit the Mercs. I mean, the wet conditions, Max Verstappen will be hoping for these sort of conditions. It's a great nullifier from him. I mean, of course, at the same time, he's got a 5-place grid penalty for tomorrow, so not ideal. In his regard, he'll be hoping for a wet race, but not so much a wet qualifying, I think. What is my opinion about the penalty for Verstappen? Do I think it was fair? Yeah, I think it was fair. I think it's pretty black and white. What he did, there's no ambiguity behind it. You can't go... there's a delta that you have to achieve, and if you exceed that delta and you're deemed to have gained an advantage, it's black and white. The timing screens don't lie. So yeah, and that's been a rule since the virtual safety car was introduced, and I think a few drivers have been penalised for that in the past. So, but guys, if you're just joining us, unfortunately, a further update at 3:30, so that is 3:30 Brazil time. So in another half hour's time, we will get an update on whether or not this qualifying session is going to get underway. It is raining at the moment. The weather radar doesn't look too good. So we're going to see whether or not we're going to get underway again at past. But yeah, not looking good at the moment. Looks like we could be coming back tomorrow morning and having a double session again, qualifying and then the race in the afternoon. James Vals thinks they'll run quali today. Yeah, I mean, look, it just depends, doesn't it, on how quickly that rain passes by. So, Max DNF during the race gets 60 place grip on the next race. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened, King. That's why I never rule out, never say never in regards to championships. Like, when there's a chance, because anything can happen in F1. His mine was 0.5 of a second before maximum attack. Yeah, he was just trying to get a chance of having a go at Piastri down into turn 4, but he just slightly misjudged it, and anyone can do that. So, who do I think will be on top? I generally don't know. I think, look, the McLarens are the best team here this weekend. It looks like they'll be hoping for a dry race and a dry qualifying. This is not what they would want by any means. But for other teams, likes of maybe Verstappen, the likes of Mercedes, especially Lewis, he'll be hoping for these sort of conditions because it's the great nullifier, and driver skill and talent really does shine through. So yeah. Thanks, Keko. Good to see you, mate. Thank you, thank you. Is she back to sleep, George? Yes. Get in there. Did she self-soothe herself? She was stirring, wasn't she? Happy days. Why don't you use a sprint race as the main race qualifier? Because the rules don't work that way anymore, Rob. The first year they were introduced, that's how they did it. But then, yeah, for a couple of years now, we've had 2 separate qualifying sessions. Do you think we'll see Alonso somewhere in the top 10? Maybe, if we've got these conditions. But in dry conditions, that Aston Martin is absolute dog at the moment, isn't it? Greetings from Poland. Sishi, thank you. Colapin Pro Red Bull. I mean, that's the rumour. It does seem to be that. I'm no doubt we'll probably hear more in the week. We've got, obviously, this is the end of our triple header, and then we have a week's break, and then we have another triple header to end the season. So who knows? Who knows? Apparently, rumours have been floating around from quite reputable journalists that they won't hear more until after Vegas. So that's a few more weeks away, yeah. Opinions on Leclerc's and Ferrari's chances in this race. So yes, Leclerc, you may be wondering why Ferrari were a bit off the pace in the sprint race. Charles Leclerc came out and stated that they just went too aggressive on the setup. So that means that the car was... in that regard, I imagine it probably meant that they had quite a bit less downforce on the car, and probably maybe wanted to make it a bit more pointy. And he said he just couldn't look after the rears. So they'll no doubt change their setup to accommodate the data they've gathered and to make it a bit more balanced. And I do think Ferrari are going to come back strong in this qualifying and the race on Sunday. I really do. I don't think we're going to see them fall off as much as we did in the sprint race. Is this the last series today? Maybe they can delay it for an hour. It is the last series, yes, let's go, yes. So they will they will probably... I think they said sunset at Sao Paulo in Interlagos is 5:30. So we've got another update at in 5:30, so we'll see. So realistically, if that's the case, they have to make a decision. Qualifying takes an hour. They have to make a decision like 4 o'clock at the latest, I'd say. Red also suspect McLaren and others are putting water into tyres that they call in. QUALI is supposed to have started yet if you're just joining us. Unfortunately, it hasn't because we have a thunderstorm that has made its way through the racetrack. So it's currently delayed. We have, if you can see here at the top of your screen, on the right-hand side, 100% chance of rain at the moment. Rain, yes. Big fat yes at the top of your screen. And we're going to get a further update on the half-hour mark. So 25 minutes until we realise whether or not we're going to be having another delay or we can get underway. Yeah, the Ferraris had well, Leclerc's were more used than others, so combine that with the aggressive setup that he wasn't a fan of, that meant that, yeah, they suffered quite a bit in the sprint race. When exactly is Lewis driving Vincenzo's car? I have no idea. Maybe he's done that already. I'm not sure. What? Oh my God. Hang on a second. I thought you were absolutely... Are you... Toby... Mike, I thought that was a genuine, like, joke. There is an... Red Bull genuinely suspects McLaren and other teams are filling water into tyres to prevent them from overheating in the race. What? That is absolutely... What? How is that even possible? How is that even possible? And how would they surely figure that out? That is bizarre. That is bizarre. Oh yes, sorry, I forgot I was even running a poll. 57% think Lando Norris is going to be on pole. 15%. So, look, Max Verstappen can still technically get pole position. You know, he won't start there tomorrow because he has a fireplace grid penalty. But he can still technically qualify on pole, if you know what I mean. So that's why he's in this poll. Piastri is 13%, Leclerc 15%, Verstappen 15%. A lot of you think Norris, though. The man in form. Giovanni, your first time here, commentary is top notch. Thank you, buddy. You haven't seen anything yet in regards to the commentary if you missed the sprint race earlier on. Filling the tyres of water is not... It's not a tarmac layer. Max or Norris, Suleiman? That's a very open question, isn't it? In what regard, Max or Norris? What do you mean? There is no race today, Ange. There is no race today. It's qualifying. As we've mentioned before, there is current postponement due to weather conditions, so we are waiting for an update, a further update at 5:30. Yeah, no worries, Steve. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. No worries. What's the series program for tomorrow? How will they get qualifying in the race in time? I actually don't think there's any supporting series here. I'm pretty sure there's no junior formulas here. If there is another series here, then it will be the Porsche Cup series most likely. But I don't think there's any supporting series. I think it's just all F1. So I think they'd easily be able to fit it in. F1 always takes priority, doesn't it? At the end of the day. So how would they even balance the tyre with water stopping it? I have no idea, Stephen. Absolutely no idea. I'd love to know where that's come from. I'm the new Murray Walker. I'm very flattered, but I don't think so. You can't, Rish, because the video streams aren't available on F1 TV depending on which region you're in. So it is region locked. The US, as an example, gets access to every bit of... Like, they get access to every onboard live feed that you possibly can get in F1. But in the UK, in India, I believe, and some other countries, it's region locked, primarily due to the broadcasting rights that the main broadcaster has. So Sky, as an example, have paid a considerable amount of money for F1. So F1 TV is region locked because it's also a lot cheaper, F1 TV per month than Sky TV is, as an example. So it sucks, really. It does suck. But I'm genuinely surprised you can even stream the data feed. Yeah, it's I'm quite surprised as well, but seems to be all right. So, I mean, many others have as well. Don't get me wrong, there has been copyright strike issues with F1, but yeah, seems to be something that they're okay with, to be fair. And F1 is normally quite hard on their content. I feel like F1 actually might have loosened up a little bit with their video content of usage, because I've seen people use footage of F1 in a lot more videos recently. It used to be before, F1 in particular, or Formula 1 management, they would just copyright strike you if you had like a 1 second clip of something in your video, which is not the right attitude to have in this modern world, especially if you want to help grow the sport. So yeah, we only get the race, no on board. Sometimes even the race are not good quality. Sometimes in India, yeah, I've heard the rights in India, broadcasting rights in India, or F1 in India is very difficult to come by. So appreciate you guys being here. So the same as Johnson this evening, probably after quali. It might not even happen though. It might not even be light enough for him. He might have to do that tomorrow as well. Everyone see if I can't watch qualifying match live video, but I'll be able to watch the match. Fair enough. No. I also do that, Holsby. Question: how come other streamers have team radio and you don't? Is it the type of feed they use? Yeah, so team radio, there is an option that you can have here. So I don't have team radio because I feel like it moves too quickly. You don't realise how much back and forth is happening between drivers and engineers throughout the course of the race. I feel like it just clutters up the stream. It's my personal choice. And I think all the important radio anyway is relayed on the TV coverage, which I currently have in my other ear. So if there's anything in that regard, I'll relay it to you. That's important enough. Suleiman. Apologies if I've missed that correctly. Mispronounced it. Happy birthday, Pierre. Do we have an ETA on quali? No, so we don't at the moment. past on the hour. So unfortunately, yes, just under 20 minutes is what we're waiting for. Top right-hand corner of your screen there, you can see further update at 15:30. That is Brazilian time. So we'll see. We will see what's going to happen. But at the moment, it is postponed. So we'll see. Hey, Gabriel. Do I watch WEC title decider in 1 hour? I don't really keep too much in up to date with it. £20 a year for lifetimes and all the content from their archive is not too bad. Well, that's the reason why Sky block it and other regions have blocked it, because they're paying considerable amounts of money for the rights to broadcast F1. And I mean, like, what is Sky Sports? Sky Sports in the UK. So the sports package in the UK with Sky TV is, I think, £40 a month. So F1 TV is £20. I mean, that's half the price. So can we try Team Radio for a race weekend? Personally, I'm not going to, Spaceman, because I've got all the information that I want on the screen. If I don't see any other area for me to put that Team Radio on here for, so. Thanks, Joe. Thank you. How many minutes till quali start? Yeah, guys, if you're just wondering, we don't know yet. We don't know when quali is going to get underway. We don't know. It might not even get underway today. So appreciate you guys for still being here and tuning in. You're basically in the F1 waiting room for quali. I'll keep you updated if I hear anything. I have the TV coverage in my ear as well, so that if there's anything there. I have Twitter open. Of course, there's a number of reputable journalists that will be keeping you updated on what will happen. And everyone is just saying. Oh, hang on. Apparently, rain is currently estimated at 70 to 80% for tomorrow's race. Oh, that's interesting. Could it be a wet race tomorrow, guys? Was it an unexpected thunderstorm? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think so. I checked the weather report earlier as well, and it looked like the weather wasn't going to hit until kind of in the evening. So this seems to be a bit unexpected, maybe a change in wind direction, something like that. You're here to the end. Any idea how much... No, look, guys. We don't know. You know, there was a comment where he says that he dares you to sing a song and it's my birthday. And I don't do singing. Happy birthday. That's as far as it goes, Pierre. That's also copyright. Do you know happy birthday is actually copyrighted as well? Hey, Taco, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, thanks everyone who's joining in. Thanks for tuning in. Over 1,000 of you here. If you could hit that like button, and if you are returning to this stream, as always, thank you very much. And if you're returning to this stream and you're still yet to hit that subscribe button, what were you holding out for? What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button for us. It really helps us out and grows this great community that we've got here. This is brand new information for me. Oi, oi! 5 gifted subs! Thank you, Jewel. Wow. Wow. Foster, Mike on track, Quicko, Seram. Apologies, I can't translate that. W form Jewel, and yes, guys, give a thank you if you just received a gifted sub there to Jewel. Much appreciated. Do you know what? I should turn my alerts on as well, actually, the alert sound, because we've not got anything going on at the moment. So thank you. Got to welcome more to the family. Good man. Welcome to the pit crew, guys. Welcome to the pit crew. Give us an update, Davina. Lots of rain. QUALI postponed. That's all you need to know. Update at past. When's my birthday? September. So mine's been and gone. I've got a long time till mine now. Greetings, Gooty, from the Netherlands. It's interesting, actually, when I see the regions of where people tune in from. I'll see you tune in from the Netherlands. So welcome. Welcome. 2:15 a.m. in Singapore. Wow, you're committed. Fair play. Do I think the VSC was kind of sus earlier on? They could have brought it out before Lando and overtook Oscar. I think questions need to be asked, Rohit. Now, I have seen people commenting, oh, it's Johnny Herbert. It's him. It's his doing again. He has no control over the VSC being deployed. None whatsoever. That's not the steward's function. That is purely down to the race director and race control. And I do think questions need to be answered in regards to why it took so long for that VSC to come out. Now, I have seen some claims that Nico Hulkenberg was sat in his car for quite some time, and maybe he was trying to get the car moving again, which is why they maybe held off for firing that VSC. But they need to just come out and just be transparent on the timeline of it, really. I think, especially in today's day and age in F1, the FIA needs to be a bit more transparent with things, don't they? And just come out and just shut down these conspiracy theories and so forth. I do think the question is valid. I called it at the time, and I still think it's valid. And we need to understand why that VSC took so long. No, Mikey, no. September's a great month, Louis. At this rate, we'll have a new WEC champion before section resumes. Yeah. Flash, Jamaica has a lot of street circuits for F1. As I do think maybe there might be a race in the Caribbean in a few years' time. I don't want any more street circuits. I just don't. Let's move away from street circuits and let's get back to traditional circuits. Even if it means that a country's got to build an actual race circuit. Street circuits are no for me, in my opinion. Just not a big fan. We've already got way too many. Looks like the best part of Lewis's weekend isn't going to happen. I'm sure they might let him tomorrow do it. It'd be unfair. It'd be really a shame if he doesn't get to drive it at Brazil, wouldn't it? So. The rain has almost come to a stop. Only slight drizzle left. Is it really? I'm Sky TV are currently planning a replay of the sprint race. Unfortunately, sprint race highlights. So, QUALI are going to try and get grade 1. Yeah. So if you're unaware with the story of QUALI in South Africa, that was supposed to be added last year to the calendar. I think it was, for this year, and it was going to replace Spa. It was going to replace Spa-Francorchamps, guys. How much of a travesty would that have been if it replaced Spa? Now, thankfully, Spa has had its contract renewed. I think it's still only on a year, 1+1 year. I know. Shock horror. That was the rumour. We were going to lose Spa. And also, how much of a kick in the teeth would that have been to Spa after they just made all those alterations to the track as well to make it safer? And yeah, that was what was going to happen. But of course, QUALI couldn't be. I think they struggled to make it grade 1. I think the promoter struggled to show proof of funds, basically, that it could secure the funds to host the race. So yeah, hopefully we never. I think Spa, Monza, Silverstone, Interlagos, off the top of my head, they're 4 circuits that should never be removed from F1. Never. So, my favourite track is Silverstone, personally. Yes, I'm British. Shock horror, Silverstone's my favourite track. I love racing it in sim racing. I think it always provides us great races as well. I can't remember the last boring race we had at Silverstone in F1. And I also like Interlagos. Interlagos is also up there for me. I think it always provides an absolute banger. And I think the race tomorrow will be as well, especially if we've got rain. In certain circuits, they'll probably shift all the races down to USA. They'll probably throw in a few sprints to make it entertaining. Oh, yeah. Eau Rouge is one of the best corners in F1. I mean, can it even be considered a corner now, though? That's the thing. Because it's just flat out, isn't it? But it is spectacular to watch them go through there. So, you love it, Goonie. You love a track in, or Gunai. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name there. But Spa is classic. Spa, Silverstone, Interlagos, Suzuka. Suzuka's another one. Yeah, Spielberg, Monza, Imola. They should all be untouchable tracks. Well, I actually have maybe a bit of a controversial opinion here about Imola. I think Imola's a great circuit. However, I don't think it's a circuit that is suitable for modern F1 cars. Now, I actually was a big supporter of Imola being added back to the calendar, but I feel like it's how much good racing do we actually have? How much good racing have we actually had back at Imola? Not a lot, really, and it is a shame. But I just think the cars just are too big for the circuit. So I think if we can get back to the cars being smaller, then yes, go back to Imola. But I do think I would much prefer we replaced Imola with, say, Hockenheim, Sepang. I've mentioned this before, but let's say you want to replace it with another European circuit, replace it with a German one, Hockenheim or Nürburgring. So, would love Mugello. Yeah. I mean, I think Mugello is another one. Really, I think it gets a lot of love, understandably, because it's cool to watch the cars go round there, but it still doesn't really provide that greater racing. That's just my opinion, but I think there's other tracks that are proven to provide good racing, and that's ultimately what we want to do. So Sepang was brilliant. Yeah, Sepang is unbelievable, but it's not there. Do I speak French? No. Je m'appelle Scott. That's about as deep as my knowledge of French goes. Bring back the classic German tracks. Yeah, I mean, the reason Germany unfortunately isn't on the calendar anymore is because they saw a drop-off in supports for F1 when there was no German drivers left on the grid, so i.e. when Sebastian Vettel left. And apparently the race circuits, Hockenheim and Nürburgring, just couldn't stump up the cash that Liberty Media wanted to host a race circuit, to host a race. That's why we had that alternate. We had a couple of years where it alternated from the Nürburgring and Hockenheim, because they kind of came to a joint deal of that's how they would host the German Grand Prix, which is a real shame. It is a real shame. And now we've got more street circuits on the calendar than we ever have done before. We're going to lose Barcelona as a race circuit as well for a street circuit in Madrid, because I think next year is Barcelona's last year on the calendar, and then its contract runs out as well. So a real shame, real shame. Can we get rid of Yas Marina? Oh, I so agree. I think Yas Marina is one of the most boring racing circuits in the world, and it's a travesty that it's the last race of the season. We need a proper racer and put Interlagos as the last race of the season again. But we all know, cha-ching, why Abu Dhabi is the last race of the season. Same as why Bahrain is the first race of the season, although Bahrain provides better racing. I'd much prefer Bahrain to be the last race of the season, to be honest with you. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the future if Las Vegas becomes the last race of the season. Imagine that. But we'll see, we'll see. But guys, yeah, if you're just tuning in, we are still awaiting an update on whether or not qualifying is going to get back underway. 7 minutes or just under 7 minutes until we get that update due to an unexpected thunderstorm that has come through the race circuit. So it's very dark out there, it's very wet, and of course it's just... The main issue isn't really due to how wet it is, it's the lack of visibility that is an issue for the FIA and always has been with the wet weather conditions in this modern Formula 1. So, what are my thoughts on the 26 regs? Supposedly 26 engines are expected to be louder than the current turbo hybrid V6. They are most probably just louder batteries, I suppose. So, yeah, I need to really dig deep again into and brush up on my knowledge of these engine regs. I think we're moving away from the hybrid era. I'm pretty sure, so it wouldn't surprise me if they are slightly louder. But yeah, I think, aren't we moving away from the hybrid? I think one of the main reasons why these cars are so heavy now is because they've got big batteries in the car. And that's kind of the whole idea of these new engine regs, is so that we can move away from the hybrid era again. But yeah, they're still not going to sound like they were, like the V8s, V10s, etc. But they're slightly, the new regs, the cars are going to be slightly smaller as well. Not dramatically, but slightly. And it's heading back in towards the right direction, which is what we want. Because currently, these F1 cars are the biggest and heaviest and largest that we've had in history. And it has kind of showed, especially with some of the incidents we've seen as well, where I think that the lack of visibility the drivers have in the cars have resulted in some of these like crashes that really wouldn't have happened if they were in smaller vehicles. So. How long till it starts? We don't know yet. We don't know. We're going to get an update at past. I generally have no idea at the moment what the conditions are, because Sky's still showing a replay of the sprint race. So I have no idea on what exactly is happening. I think James Vowles was quite positive that we would get back underway again. All the updates I've got on Twitter are from like 15 minutes ago. So nothing... but I can see yet. Yeah, nothing. It says lasting more than 1 hour thunderstorms is what there was an update an hour ago. So, would I think Manly Cause would provide good racing? I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. E-sound. Who do I support? Boo, please stop spamming the chat in regards to who do I support. Who do I support? I've mentioned this previously before. I support primarily, of course, Lewis Hamilton. Shock. I support Lando. I support primarily the Brits first. Now, that's not a given, but I'll support all the Brits. Ultimately, I want my countrymen to do well. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And if I get to know them better as they race more and so forth, then my opinion can change. But yeah, that's kind of primarily who I support. I really like Liam Lawson. I really want him to get a seat in F1. I do like Charles Leclerc as well. And I do really like Oscar Piastri. And I really hope that he can come out strong next year and be consistent throughout the duration of the season. So... yeah. As a football fan, teams come before drivers. Yeah, I don't know. I think in F1 it's a bit different. I think you support the driver first, and then you kind of follow him. I mean, look how many people are going to follow Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, and they probably never thought they'd support Ferrari. So, Anglo-Saxon always support Brit. Nothing wrong with that. No, I don't think. I think it's the same with anything. Whether you're whatever country you're in, like I think it's just nice to support your countrymen first. Look, and if it turns out that they're a dick, you have valid reasons to not want to support them, then that's fair. It's like you don't get on well with everyone in your country, do you? So that'll be the case in sport as well. Do I like Max? So this is an open question. I get called for being a hater of Max, and I think if you criticise a driver, you're all of a sudden deemed to hate that driver. Now, I have been open that I'm not that I don't like Max. I'm not a big supporter of Max. I don't like how he goes racing, and I don't like how the racing rules, which have been under the microscope recently for the right reasons, have kind of been there to accommodate the way that Max has entered the sport and driven. And that's not his fault. He's been allowed to do that. So why would you not continue to drive the way that you are if you're not told otherwise, if you're told it's not wrong. And I don't like that, and that's kind of where my feelings lie with him. I also think as well with Matt, but I also respect that Max is a fucking brilliant driver. He's so quick, and he's just like he has shown at times he doesn't need to drive the way that he does. However, I do think Max is a product of the people he is around with. So we all know that sometimes when you're at home or when you're with your friends, you act very differently than you are in work. And I think Max, where he's surrounded by Horner, where he's surrounded by Helmut Marko, he's surrounded by his dad, I don't think they're good influences on him. Now, I could be completely wrong, but that's what it looks like from the outside. And I think he's a very different person. I don't like that Max who's with them, but I like the Max who's off stream. And, away from F1 and on stream. That's my kind of view. Really, I think he's almost two very different people. So, why is British salt so cheap and bitter? Oh no! Oh, estimated start of qualifying. 4 o'clock, guys. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Used to like Max, but find he has got arrogant over the years. Not a fan. Look, that's the thing, and you're entitled to support who you want to support. And if you support Max Verstappen, fair play. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at the end of the day. He's not a bad person by any means. He's not a bad person. But in sport, everyone should be able to be criticised. And as long as that criticism is fair. And I think a lot of the time, people get a bit butthurt. And it's not just Max, it's any fan. Like, I've been had a go at when I've criticised Lewis. And you're like, well, I'm a fan, but I can criticise him and I can call him out for when he's done a shit job, you know? So no one is above criticism at the end of the day in sport. And as long as I'm objective about it, and I try not to get too emotional over it. Like, I just want to see good racing ultimately. That's what I want to see, and that's why I watch F1. So what do I think of Liam Lawson? Because I'm trying to like him, but his attitude and temperament on the radio is just off-putting. I think Liam Lawson's brilliant, to be honest with you. I think he's not doing anything wrong. I get why people are trying to like go, oh, well, he's getting under the skin of Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso. Yeah, he's getting under the skin of those drivers by just racing. That's the thing. He's just racing. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. And it sounds like a bit of like respect your elder type moment, and they can't handle the new kid on the block taking it to them, similar to how what Max did when he arrived on the scene. Yeah, Max did it a little bit differently because he was making kind of very dubious moves in doing so, but Lawson's doing it well within the rules, and they don't like him. And who doesn't like a bit of sass over the radio, eh? You could be a fan and still be able to use common sense and your eyes. Yeah, and that's what we always try and do here. That's what we'll always try and do here. And it's the same with any other sport. Football in particular is so divisive, even amongst your own team and your own fans. You can support the same team, yet you can have completely different opinions about that team and about players. And I've seen so much like discourse and arguments online from people all wanting like different things for their team. So it's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. So Q1 will be signing. Yes, Q1 will be signing 30 minutes, guys. So if you just joined us, we have an update. Qualifying is starting at 4 o'clock Brazilian time, so half an hour on the mark. Get your drinks in, guys. Go to the toilets. Have a little power nap if need be. I know some of you, it is like 4 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning for you. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. You're so committed to F1. And yes, we will have a wet qualifying session. So not what the McLarens want, because they would want dry conditions. But yes, let's see. How's Interlagos conditions? Well, we're going to see. I'm going to see still. They're still replaying the bloody sprint race, so I don't know yet. But that is a confirmation that qualifying will get underway at 4 o'clock. So hopefully we get a full qualifying session. It could only be part qualifying, so we'll see. It will be a wet track, yeah. Max is exactly as Cristiano is in the football. Good player, but a bad character. I don't think he's a bad. I don't want to dwell on it and get too much onto it, but I've openly said I'm not a fan of Red Bull. I think they are one of the most toxic teams in F1 history. While I respect Christian Horner as a team principal and he is what you want as a team principal if you're running a team, because he just, like, he lives or dies Red Bull. His driver can do no wrong, and he knows how to play the political game. But I don't like Helmut Marko. I've made that known for quite some time. Don't like Christian Horner. And look, let's be honest, we all know, we've all heard the stories of Jos Verstappen. So I don't think that is a very good circle of role models to be around, you know. So Hakkinen is my favourite driver of all time. I grew up watching Hakkinen. Unbelievable driver. My flying Finn. RB will change Lawson. Oh, you reckon? What, you reckon he's going to get into the Red Bull seat? I don't know. I mean, it seems like Colapinto's going to be in that seat now, doesn't it? But the rumours are Carlos Slim wants to move his sponsorship from Sergio Perez to Colapinto, and it seems Colapinto's going to jump straight into the Red Bull seat. I hope if that is the case, brilliant for Colapinto. Brilliant for him, and he should take that opportunity. Regardless what I think of Red Bull, it's still a top team, and he would be without a seat next year if that wasn't available to him. But I do think Liam Lawson should be in that seat. Should be in that Red Bull seat, and a minimum should be on the grid next year in the RB car. So, yeah, I mean, that's obviously what shaped him, Usain. You can say obviously that's what shaped him into obviously the ruthless driver that he is. But yeah, you don't have to like that at the same time from the outside. So, what do I think of Alex and Yuki? Because I'm split on who to support since Daniel's gone. I don't know. Alex who? What, Alex Albon? It's going ahead, Miley. Yes, if you're just tuning in, guys, we do have qualifying underway at 4 o'clock. 25 minutes time, less than 25 minutes time, we have qualifying back underway. Let's go. Delayed due to a thunderstorm. It is going to be a wet quali, but how wet will it be? Will we have more rain on the way? Who knows? Who knows? Colapinto gets in the RB Rebel Racing, then he is the luckiest man to be in the right place at the right time. And that is F1 for you. You have to be in the right place at the right time. You have to play the career game. Look at Fernando Alonso. Arguably, yes, he's got 2 world championships, but he should have more if he played the career game right. A driver who's played the career game brilliantly is Lewis Hamilton, and he could be timing it perfectly again by moving to Ferrari at the right time. He moved from McLaren to Mercedes at the right time. People really questioned that decision. I remember it. And then look how that turned out for him, and look how it could maybe turn. It's got a lot of hallmarks of that similar move where McLaren was starting to dip off. They were starting to drop off, and Mercedes was starting to, even with Schumacher and Rosberg, they were starting to be there or thereabouts in the podiums and some race wins. I'm not, obviously Ferrari's been around a lot longer than that, but they look strong, don't they, Ferrari, at the end of this season? And Ferrari need a strong car at the start of the season, really. They never really have developed that well throughout the duration of a season. Whenever they've challenged for a championship, it's because they've had a championship-winning car from the outset. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. He has demonstrated he's got a place in F1, but Nacho, he's taken his opportunity, but Liam Lawson has also taken his opportunity. He might miss out on the seat. So a lot of it is, F1, a lot of it is right place, right time. There's been a number of talented junior drivers who haven't been able to make their way through into F1 because there hasn't been a seat available and they have to go elsewhere, and then people forget about them. So, yeah. Quali starts on the hour, guys. On the hour. Looking forward to Ollie Behrman in the wet. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm intrigued to see how Ollie Behrman gets on. Haas really fell away. I mean, Hulkenberg was told to pull over, of course, in the sprint race, and Ollie Behrman really just seemed like his tyres just fell off. And I don't know if he was told to nurse an issue as well at the latter stages of that sprint race, because they were hovering around 9th and 10th, weren't they, for most of it, or at least in the top 10, and then they just fell away. Yeah, the track has been resurfaced, so qualifying is going to be interesting. That's just that thunderstorm, no doubt, has just washed away all of the rubber that's been laid down in the last 2 days. So, yeah, intrigued to see how the grip is in this wet qualifying and how the track ramps up as well. So yes, I have images of the race circuit. It is still spitting It's a slight light rain, spitting as we like to call it in the UK, and the track is wet. I can confirm the track is very wet. So safety car and medical car are just doing some sighting laps now, and well, no doubt that the teams will be able to displace a lot of that water pretty quickly, or the cars will. So whatever setup and whatever drivers, who do you think could be able to qualify? Well, this is the question. So if there is, this is intriguing, like the setup choice. Now, no doubt, I mean, this could go so terribly wrong for a lot of drivers if they don't get the setup right. Because, of course, you want qualifying is important and you want the right qualifying. You want to be as far up in qualifying as possible. But you want the right setup for Sunday. And if the race is dry tomorrow and you're focused fully on the dry setup, wet setup in quali, you're going to be a sitting duck in the race. And well, vice versa, you're going to be a sitting duck in qualifying, but you might be quick in the race. So, yeah, really intrigued to see how the teams decide to set up their cars here. Joe will be last in the wet. He was slow last time there was a wet session. Let's be honest, we expect Joe to be at the back when it's even dry. Yeah, King, I don't really care what his orientation is, to be honest with you. I don't know why other people are as well, but people like to focus on ridiculous things, don't they? So his choice, that's what matters at the end of the day. Why should it affect you? Lewis to win another championship. I think if he's given a championship car, I think if he's got a car that can win can win a championship, yeah, I think you'll see a highly motivated Lewis up there fighting for a championship. Yeah, I think you will. Are we going to see a track akin to Turkey? Ooh, maybe not as bad as that, Jack. Maybe not as bad. I think that was a very much a one-off. There was something very unique about that track surface, wasn't there? Mercedes outsiders think Canada. Yeah, maybe. Think Hamilton could possibly get his 8th. Yeah, at Ferrari. Well, I think he stated, didn't he? He goes, I think I'll be here longer than Alonso is right now. So I think Ferrari would want him to be there as long as possible. Ollie Behrman wouldn't. I think Ollie Behrman would love Lewis maybe to stay there for 2 years, and then Lewis leaves, and that's a natural progression for Ollie Behrman to step up into the Ferrari seat. But yeah, it's highly possible we could have Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari for the next 4 years. I do think we'll see something. I am still of the opinion if Lewis Hamilton won his 8th world title back in 21, I think he would have retired. I really do. And maybe the Ferrari thing might have never happened. I think still that might be the case. If he won next year, and we're talking obviously big hypotheticals, if he won next year, I think he could retire, go out on a high, you know. Morning, thank you for joining the pit crew, buddy. Much appreciated. Chief Strategist, thank you. Watch Alonso stay till 2035. Will Alonso ever retire? I mean, he's going to want to stay there. Alonso, I think, is going to be there till at least the first year of the regs, isn't he? 2026. That's what he's going to try and do. But whether Lawrence Stroll will want that, I don't know. I mean, if you're Lawrence Stroll, you want someone. You don't want Fernando Alonso alongside Lance Stroll. Now, let's say another big hypothetical here. Aston Martin provide a championship-winning car, right? 2026. Newey works his magic. They properly cook in the engine department with Honda. They have a championship-winning car. Unthinkable Lance Stroll has a championship-winning car, right? It's akin to Mercedes dominance in 2014, right? No one can catch them. If your son, Lance Stroll, but you deep down know isn't a quick enough driver, and the only driver he has to compete against is his teammate, you do not want Fernando Alonso alongside him, do you? You do not want Fernando Alonso alongside him. You want someone you know he knows, or you know he can cover, basically, he can beat. You want a Logan Sargent. You want a Nicholas Latifi. I'm literally talking that sort of level. That is what he wants. So I don't think Fernando Alonso will be at Aston Martin for much longer, because for that very reason. Which is why I don't think you would see Max Verstappen join Aston Martin. I don't think while Lance Stroll and Lawrence Stroll, his dad owns the team, you're going to see. I think Alonso is like as peak as it gets in regards to like the level of driver they hire, because he needs someone that his boy can beat week in, week out. That's my opinion. If they're able to compete, if they're able to obviously get a car, build a car that can fight for the championship. So that's my opinion. So, but yeah, Nui might not have as big an effect because it's not primarily aero driven. It's more so about the engine, but the aero is still a big factor. But yeah, we'll see. But guys, if you're just joining us, I'm seeing lots of questions about when is qualifying going to start. Understandable question, a reasonable question, because it should have started 45 minutes ago. It's going to start in 15 minutes time on the hour. We have had a delay to the session due to a massive thunderstorm that has made its way through the circuit. We do have a wet track. We have wet conditions in this qualifying, so that could really spice up this grid. Now remember, if you're a Max Verstappen fan, and if some of you are still here after me saying I'm not his biggest fan, oh no, qualifying is starting at 15:15 now. What? Why has qualifying been delayed? Why has qualifying been delayed again? Oh no. Damn you, Bernd Mailander, in the safety car. Damn you. I wonder if the missus is listening. George, if you're listening, can you make me a coffee, please? Do you notice how my change of voice, my tone of voice changed there, guys? I'm going to drop her a message. Mrs. Stuffey, I'm going to need a top up. There we go. Message sent. Request put in. We'll see what response we get back, guys. I know it's been postponed again. I'm really surprised. It's the first corner. Oh, is it purely the first corner? Okay, fair enough. I mean, it looked like I saw them going for the middle sector and it looked okay. But if the first corner is obviously not great. But then again, however, the thing is though, a road car aquaplaning on the road car aquaplaning is very different to a wet weather Pirelli tyre that the F1 cars are on, you know. I think sometimes that's a bit iffy, because an Aston Martin safety car does not have the same performance capabilities of an F1 car and doesn't displace as much water. So if that car's aquaplaning, surely F1 cars would be able to cope with that. That's just my opinion. So well, I don't want to leave this stream, Swim. Do you know what it is? I don't want to leave you guys unattended. I just don't trust you all. I don't trust you all to be left unattended. I am currently a parent to 1,300 of you here right now. I just don't trust you all. I trust the mods, but I still don't trust you all. We need to earn that trust, guys. Thank you for the subs coming in, guys. Thank you for the subs. Much appreciated. Yes, if you're just joining us, unfortunately, I honestly think, I mean, how much longer can they push this qualifying back? That's cutting it fine, isn't it? I do think 4:30 might be the latest they can push it back to. But thank you for joining us, though, and having a chat with F1. Even if you're just sitting back, chilling, have me on the big TV. Hope you're all good. I can trust you. Can't beat a chair string. Easy, I can go have a sandwich and some beers before start. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Do I think towards the end of the season, Max's mentality will be making Lando's crash out better than finishing P2? I don't know. I feel like Max is going to continue to do what he's going to do. He's not going to change the way that he races. I think he'll change in regards to like the move that he did in turn 8. I think he'll dial that back a little bit, but ahead of the Apex rule is still in place to the end of the season. So turn 4 was fine margins between him being ahead of the Apex or Lando. It turned out what he did was incorrect. João Santos da Cunha, thank you. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for joining the pit crew, buddy. Much appreciated. Welcome. We've had a few members today. Much appreciated. I think he's just going to continue to drive the way he has, really. And I think a lot of drivers will take that mentality as well. He did kind of do that ahead of the Apex thing at turn 1 as well. Now, Lando had him covered comfortably. But Max then sent it down the inside at turn 1. He actually had an uncharacteristically poor start in the sprint race, if you look back at it. He didn't have that good of a launch. And he locked up and nearly went into the side of Leclerc down into turn 1. Thankfully, Leclerc left plenty of room. But if Leclerc was any tighter, really, to the first corner, there would have been contact between Leclerc and Verstappen. So, yeah, in that regard, he's not going to change the way he drives unless the racing rules change and he has to adhere to them, which supposedly they're going to from next year. So, this is why I love being in these streams, interact with the fans. Also, Dad, I think as a 38-year-old, I should be trusted. Oh, I've got a thumbs up from the missus. She's making a coffee now. Yes! I'll turn the sound off for alerts for the time being. That's fine, because lots of you are subbing. Big thank you, guys. Big thank you for subbing right now. Yes, we hit 32,000 subs earlier. I say not long until quality. Oh, 26 minutes. You just made me feel so... Didn't realise it was that long, Mike. That long. So, how many sets of wet and into do each teams have? I think they have... That's a very good question. I don't know how many they take to each race. I'm going to guess it's... I think it's 2 of it. I think it might be 2 of each. But then they get an additional one from... No, it's got to be more than that. It's got to be more. I think it might be 2 wets. It might be 2 or 3 wets. How many... Let's just see. How many wet tyres do F1 teams have each race? Here we go. I'm actually on the Red Bull website, which is so they get they get 4 intermediate sets and 3 wet sets. So 4 intermediates and 3 wets. And then sometimes if it's wet throughout the course of the weekend, Pirelli will give them an additional set of inters or wets to use for the race on Sunday. Is there a high chance of rain tomorrow? Yes, it is, GI. Yeah. So this is the thing that's been discussed. What we were just chatting about earlier. Actually, I say discussed. It's me discussing it. The setups. So if it is deemed, it's going to make it a lot easier for the teams to choose a setup if rain is forecast for tomorrow, because they can just focus on a wet weather setup. Which generally means more downforce. You want more support on the rear of the car, and yeah, you're not so focused on top speed. It's more about cornering speed, because you don't want to lose control of the car ultimately, and that's where you gain the time in wet weather conditions. But if it was to be drier conditions tomorrow, that would really put a spanner in the works for these drivers and these teams, because how do you decide in setting up the car? Because we know qualifying is important in F1, more so than it's ever been, because of how close the performance of the cars are. A couple of hundredths here or there can make a difference between you being 2 positions higher or 2 positions lower. And that would really... I really would be... That would make qualifying even more interesting. But it does seem like it's a high possibility of rain, of a wet weather race tomorrow. So I know, I've seen that, Foster. Yeah, they've got the sweepers out there. So I mean, to me, I think it... I mean, it's still raining. It is still raining. Yes. But surely these cars are able to display so much water. They're able to display so much water. Getting the cars out there would help clear that and at least form a line that these drivers can race on. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, Max in the 2016 race, he really found the grip, didn't he? That move, was that the move he did round the outside of turn 3, Nico Rosberg, on the restart? That's an iconic overtake. One car on track would be okay. I think the spray would be a bit much at the mo. Usually there are a couple of problem rivers too. New sub from Red Kobe. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated. And anyone who's subbed in the meantime, Marcel, Utkarsh, Zhao for becoming a member. Thank you. Kingsley, Atik, Jari, Morlik, Ishkar. Anyone else who's subbed in the meantime and it hasn't shown up as alert. Big thank you. Oh, look at this. Thank you. Qualifying's been postponed. It's wet. Is she down? Cool. She settled herself. You look very happy. Lovely, lovely coffee. Oh, nice caffeine boost before we, hopefully, fingers crossed, qualifying gets underway. Do I play F1 Clash? No. Do I think there's any chance Charles wins this Grand Prix? I think there is. I do think Ferrari... I mean, they might have been hoping for dry conditions as well. I don't know. Or maybe they would have been hoping for wet weather. But I do think Ferrari, if you're unaware, guys, Charles Leclerc earlier on in the sprint race, he fell away, didn't he? He was starting on older tyres compared to Verstappen, who he had to try and defend. And I think Charles did a good job of staying with Lando and the McLarens as long as he did, especially in the dirty air. But that tyre deficit, being 3 laps older, I think did eventually come through. Was a disadvantage for him. But Charles also said that the setup was quite aggressive. He wasn't comfortable with the car. He was fighting it a lot, which Max Verstappen was saying Charles is making a lot of mistakes, wasn't he? And he was getting quite frustrated at because he wasn't able to get past him. It was slowing him down. So Charles, no doubt, and Sainz, who also seem to struggle as well. I think Ferrari will address that. They'll change the setup, which they're allowed to do now, in between the sprint and the qualifying for the main race. So I think that will. I think they'll come out strong. I do. Good evening, Graham. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. I think the worry is that the car is damaged too much to not be able to be used for the race. All teams are worried now. Yeah, I mean, there is that element as well. I think it primarily just comes down due to safety. It does just come down to, maybe it's due to this new track surface as well. If it was the old track surface where there was a bit more grip, they might have already got underway. But maybe they're a bit, obviously got memories of Turkey, as someone mentioned, of a new track surface and it being wet. There's been no running on this track as well, similar to Turkey, until this weekend, I think. They only finished the track resurfacing until, I think, very late in the day for this weekend. So, yeah, any rubber that's been laid down has no doubt been washed away now, which doesn't help. So, you feel like McLaren are best in the wet? Yeah, I think you're still going to see the performance advantage shine through. I really do. I don't think that's just going to dissipate. So, wet races and a lot of drivers: Verstappen, Lewis, Alonso, Lando. Yeah. Piastri, don't rule Piastri out. Ivan Leclerc's always been quite good. He's sneakily good. I love the race without DRS. Yes, it's quite good to see every now and then, isn't it? F1 TV just played the F1 intro. Yeah, I'm just hearing that. So maybe they're geeing up to it. Yeah, maybe they are genuinely expecting that this race is going to get underway. This qualifying is going to get underway at 15:15. That seems to be a bit of a clear indication for me. So. Predictions and who wins the race, Jake? I really don't know. With these weather conditions, anything could happen. Ask me after qualifying. Don't ask when qualifying starts if I would just postpone it further. Shh. Russell isn't too bad in the wet weather either. Yeah, Lewis, of course. So there'll be a few drivers out there who'll be looking forward to this and thinking they can sneak a good few positions. Which races have I seen live? I have never seen a race in person. I know. I've never seen. I'm 33 years old and I've never seen an F1 race in person. So I'd love to. But yeah, it's never happened for me, unfortunately. Maybe next year. I don't know. But yeah, is what it is, really. Are they still going to get rid of tyre warmers next year? No, I think they've reneged on that, Anthony. I think they decided against that. The tyre warmers. I think the teams voted against it. So I think the tyre warmers are staying. So 33, I look 25. Thank you. That is the main problem, Leo. Yeah, it's too expensive. It is too... I mean, especially in the UK. I mean, it's cheaper for me to go abroad, which maybe I will do. I don't know. It probably would be a last-minute thing for me. I think committing to it is a bit tough, but... yeah, I'm not even fussed about actually seeing a race in person. I just want to see the cars on track. So I'm quite happy going to a practice like Friday at Silverstone as an example, like getting those practice sessions and going and seeing the cars on circuit from different angles and just experiencing the performance of them. That's what I want. That's what I want to experience more so than the actual race itself. Even a grandstand. Yeah, I saw Hungary has upped its prices, Taco. I think people clocked on. I think they've clocked on that Hungary was the cheapest one to attend, and they've upped their prices. Also, probably trying to fund their brand new grandstand that they've just knocked down. As soon as the race ended, bulldozers came in and they've knocked down their paddock and their grandstand, I think. So they're rebuilding that whole building, so we'll have a new one next year. So yeah. When it's going to call you up and want you at every race to do commentary and analysis, will you be at every Grand Prix? I think there's people ahead of me who have better connections than me who will be on Sky TV. So if I do end up on TV, guys, and I do unfortunately stop these watch-alongs, you can be guaranteed it's because there's a hefty paycheck. Of course, I have an extra mouth to feed now, so... Is it still raining? That's why Q1 hasn't started yet. It was raining. It has slowed. They've been out there trying to clear the track. The fans in the grandstands... well, the ones in the grandstands don't have their anoraks on. I think it is still raining slightly, but it is definitely a lot clearer now. Yeah, it's still raining. It's still raining. So we'll see. We're about to get an update at 15:15. The TV... Oh, they've pushed it back another 15 minutes. Fuck's sake. Ah. Am I religious? F1's my religion. I refrain from kind of discussing those topics. It's not really what we do here. Same with politics and so forth. Just keep everything around F1. This is what this channel's about and what I'm about. So, why don't they give a point to? Why don't they give a point to for the first in qualifying? I think it'll be much more challenging for the drivers. No. Let's refrain from doing that. That's kind of the same as what we do with fastest lap, which is being removed next year. So. I mean, they've just delayed it again. Another 15 minutes. Hang on. I think what we need it to stop raining. They're not happy with the fact of it's still raining, which they obviously deem that it's not going to... They clearly think it's not going to clear up even with cars out on the circuit while it's still raining. So they need it to stop raining, so we'll see. Every time they... I lose faith every single time they postpone it, GI, yeah. In Monza, you just climb over the Parco Royal Wall, and Imola at Variante Alto. You can use a tree or a ladder. Nice. If I'm ever in Imola, I'll remember that. Let's pour Jimmy Broadman and just watch the sim racing stewards. Not right now. What will happen if there's no quality today? Then they'll do it tomorrow morning. They'll do it tomorrow. So, yeah. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. I mean, there's 1,400 of you here waiting patiently with myself for this qualifying to get underway. So, a big thank you as always. Can we hit that like button for this kind of podcast episode or this F1 quali waiting room? Only 338 likes right now. Going to bed now. I don't blame you, Raymond. I don't blame you. You might wake up and realise you've still got qualifying to watch. So, do you think Rodri deserved the Ballon d'Or? I actually do. I think it was a very poor year for football. Really, no one really kind of overly stood out. Vinny Jr. was great, but I think Rodri also did very well. People always look at the flair players, understandably, but I think Rodri was fully deserving. And we will not mention West Ham today, guys. If any of you are in the chat, I am not discussing West Ham football team. I'd rather forget about that team right now. So you could swear I deserve an F1 commentary box. I appreciate that. Look, you never know. You never know if this channel gets to look. My main goal primarily is for this to become a full-time career, i.e. YouTube with the F1 content, the watch-alongs, the sim racing. That's the dream. And as I said, every single subscriber and every single like brings me closer to that becoming a reality. So a big thank you, guys. And I genuinely mean that because it helps push the algorithm, push me in front of new viewerships, and continues to grow this channel and this great community we've got here. So big thank you as always. I mean, who would have thought at the start of the year, if you told me at the start of the year that we would have nearly 1,500 people right now just sitting here waiting for qualifying to start while I chat absolute rubbish about F1, I would have just told you to go back to drinking. So yeah, big thanks, guys. What happens if the rain carries to tomorrow and the race is cancelled on our support? I don't know. I mean, if the race is cancelled, then they'll just not award any points to anyone. So F1 is showing the P1 results on its tracker. Is that some indication? No, not at the moment. I've got TV coverage live, and they've got some vehicles out on circuit still, but there is a bit of a clear sky that I can see in the background, but it's still raining, and that's what they're worried about. So they are running out of sunlight, Davina. Yeah, they can't push this back much longer. They can't. So I thought half 4 might be their cut-off point, because you've got to remember, we've also got to have an hour of qualifying. So we'll see. We'll see. I see Elon is also doing watch-alongs, but I think it's the best one. Thank you, Swim. Yeah, I mean, lots of people do it now. F1's really grown, of course. But I like to think, obviously, we've been doing it. We got in quite early in regards to doing the watch-alongs. So, yeah, thanks, everyone, for keep coming back in. Thanks, Gibbs. It'd be nice to cancel the race. No balls down these days. I mean, they've got to think of the fans there as well. Ollie Behrman's like falling asleep. Ollie Behrman's standing on a tyre, and it's like falling asleep. They either quali tomorrow, use FP1 times or sprint quali times. Yeah, I mean, they will have. Yeah, they will have. Or they might go championship standings. Do they do championship standings? Ooh, I don't know. I think they can remember once they did the qualifying on Sunday morning. Yeah, they'll probably just want to do it in them. I mean, it's like golf to an extent as well. Golf, sometimes, if there's weather conditions, they end up carrying it over to the next day. And you end up playing the last round and the round previous to that, finishing it off in the morning. So that'll be what they'll do with qualifying. It's only an hour, of course. So no doubt the teams will do that. So. Oh, thank you, Mahida. Thank you. Yeah, I plan on doing more F1 content moving forward. I will never be as quick as Tactical Rab on the content side of things, because he is very quick. Of course, he's used to it with the esports side of things as well. But that's kind of not my MO really as well. As I said, I will discuss big talking points and kind of video ideas and so forth that I have, which I do have a few, which I want to do more of in the future. So. Yeah. Hey, Jason, have you still had some time to hop in the sim after bringing a baby home? Not a lot, Jason, to be honest with you. Not a lot. F1's kind of taken up my time, really. I'd like to do a bit more. So I'm hoping to get a few more races in. I mean, if qualifying's on some... I was hoping to get some races maybe in tomorrow before the F1 starts. Before the race. But it looks like if qualifying's postponed to tomorrow, I probably won't, so... Can you imagine reverse championship standings? What, Bottas starting on pole and Zhou Guanyu, a front row lockout for the Stake F1 cars? Imagine. I personally think the track is drivable, Ted. I do, but I think they're worried about the fact of it. They're obviously worried about visibility issues. It's still raining, I think. Maybe it's slowed now, but they weren't happy as of a few 15 minutes. Oh, the safety car's back out there. Safety car is going back out there, so 10 past right now, so we'll see. What happened to West Ham, Max? We lost 3-0. Did we lose 3-0? I think we lost 3-0. Yeah, man sent off. Not looking good. Not looking good. All the races I'm racing, yeah, they're public servers. They're weekly officials. Yeah, they're all public servers. So they would still conduct quali in the morning. So I'm going to have a look at the weather for tomorrow and see, maybe we might have a dry... We might end up having a dry morning tomorrow. Interlagos weather. So tomorrow... I mean, it looks like it's just going to be wet all day tomorrow, to be fair. This is the weather report for Interlagos. That's for tomorrow. Look at it all week. Rain. Thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's raining all night and all day tomorrow. It doesn't dip below 80%. Yeah, Tactical Rab basically just, I mean, credit to him. Yeah, respect to where it's due in regards to putting out that content. He will jump on any rumour of F1, which I get because it gets clicks and views and stuff. So he's clever in that sense. But he also does it like full time as well because he's got that second channel, isn't he? Or his main channel. The F1 thing is kind of like his second channel, isn't it? So looking at the range with the safety car out, doesn't look promising at all. I mean, it is throwing up a lot of spray. It is still raining. That's the main issue. It's raining still. How much more time? I don't know. I reckon they've got maybe one more postponement in them. I think that's all they've got. Spa 21 vibes. Yeah. Yeah. The more it's going on, guys, the more I'm not convinced it's going to start. Because we're running out of daylight. So I think we're going to be coming back tomorrow morning, guys, for qualifying. Of course, we'll be here for it regardless. But a real shame. That's the unpredictability. That's the unpredictable nature of Interlagos. But it all depends on the weather tomorrow. As you've just seen, I've just showed you there. The weather doesn't look too great tomorrow either. So this is sure to be a banger if they greenlight the race tomorrow. It's going to be a glorious slop show. I know. What did you miss, Junior? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Or did you miss everything? Why not just go if it's also wet tomorrow? I mean, yeah, but it's not suitable conditions. They're deeming it's not suitable conditions. I'd love for them to... Should have a test F1 car, really, shouldn't they? To go out there and see if it displaces enough water. But oh, hang on. They're talking about it now. They're talking... yeah, they're just discussing in the Sky TV commentary box. They don't know what times you would take as basically precedent for the grid on Sunday. So it could be they go back to the sprint qualifying because we do have a classification of qualifying at some point this weekend. So we'll see. Max in the wets in Brazil should be really entertaining. I'm pretty sure they'll use FP1 for the race grid. I'm pretty sure that's in the regs. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because it's a sprint race weekend, normally maybe it's FP1, but because it's a sprint... I mean, if it's let's look back, right, guys? Let's have a look back at the FP1 times, right? I tell you it doesn't look good for. I'll tell you who it doesn't look good for if we go back to the sprint, to the F1 times. Sorry, FP1 times. Results. Let's go to FP1 practice. So here we go. These are the... Sorry if this is a bit bright on your screen. So this is the FP1 times as per the BBC here. And Max Verstappen 15th, who has a 5-place grid penalty. He would start 20th. So that is not good for Max Verstappen. And who's on pole? We'd have Ollie Behrman starting 3rd, Oscar starting 4th. But importantly, Lewis Hamilton would start 15th because Max would be demoted to last. That is... I'll tell you now, Red Bull would be straight on the blower. They'll be going straight to the FIA and saying, no, it's sprint quali times because we qualified 4th, which means we'll start 9th. So... if it is FP1, I mean, good luck, Max, tomorrow. Even with his ability in the rain, I'm just telling you. I expect Hamilton to be top 3 here. Oh, well, we'll see. Sunset is 6:21. Okay, so they've probably got, at latest, 5 o'clock. So they've probably got two more postponements in them. 2 more, so. FP1 stand is just set for racing. Oh, imagine. Just imagine. But they might not do that because it's a sprint quali and because they actually have a qualifying to take from. But I don't know. You want to see Ollie in the points again? It'll really be an interesting race, wouldn't it? A really mixed up grid. Bono's drinking tea. Just like a true Brit. They should just do it for entertainment. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Kind of excited to see Lewis in the 1990 Senna car. Well, he might not even get an opportunity car with the weather conditions at the moment, which is a shame. But wow, we have 1,800 of you here in the stream right now. Big thank you for tuning in. If you're just joining us and you're wondering what the hell is actually happening right now, well, as has been the case for the last couple of hours, unfortunately, qualifying has been postponed. We are they keep pushing back the estimated time of the start. It's currently sitting 15 minutes away from now, which will be past. Fingers crossed. But it doesn't look like any of the teams are really ready and raring to go. So we supposedly have, I reckon, until 5 o'clock. Qualifying takes an hour. Of course, sunset is at 20 past 6, so we're running out of daylight, and we could be coming back tomorrow for qualifying before the race. But of course, we also have wet weather pretty much forecast for the rest of tomorrow, so qualifying might not even happen. And as we were just discussing, that then means that we could take either the FP1 results, the practice times, or it could be the sprint quali times. Not entirely sure what the regs state when it's a sprint race weekend, so we'll see. Be interested. Colapinto in the rain normally suits Williams. Yeah, I mean, there's a few drivers. Lawson. I mean, we saw Lawson in the rain. His first ever. Oh, they moved it back again. Deep breaths, guys. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. I'm really earning my money right now, Mike, aren't I? I'm really earning my money, yeah. 1,800 people in here and I'm listening to my waffle. Appreciate you all. Yeah, the sprint is different, which is weird. A normal race weekend would mean the last official session, the last free practice, but in the sprint, the last official session was technically the sprint. Yeah, don't know. I imagine they probably won't go for the sprint. The FP1 session. I imagine they'll probably do sprint quali. So, how's being a dad? Yes, it's good. It's just I'd say, at the moment, I'm just changing nappies and feeding. And trying to get babies asleep, you know? So, she's still too young to really kind of have a back and forth, and that personality hasn't really come through yet. So, I'm waiting for that time when she starts properly smiling back. She sees us. Baby's eyesight doesn't properly develop. I think it is until like the 3-month mark, 12-week mark. So at the moment, if she like just smiles, it's because she's passing wind. So yeah, no, but it is good though. I'm looking forward to obviously what's to come. Just looked at the weather radar, Leo. Not good. I know. 16:45. It's been delayed again now. So it seems to be... So we've got to wait another 15 minutes until they update us on whether or not that 16:45 time is going to go ahead, guys. So that seems to be what they're doing. I mean, how much longer can they really push it back? I don't know. I don't know. Going for FP1 classification is stupid. I mean, it's called practice session for a reason. Yeah, no, I do tend to agree. But I guess in most, this is the thing, in most official sessions or normal race weekends, the last official session would be FP3, wouldn't it, really? Or, yeah, most likely. Or FP2 if you couldn't get FP3 underway, because that's conducted on the same day as qualifying. So I get why that makes sense then. However, in the sprint race weekend, we've already had 2 official sessions, meaningful sessions. We've actually had a qualifying session, so yeah, it might go back to sprint quali is what my assumption would be. So use please, or the P1 quali results, please. Yeah, how can everyone it turned into a tyre test only for Pirelli? I don't think it did it in FP1? FP1 wasn't a Pirelli tyre test. That was FP2 in Mexico, wasn't it? So WC frustration because of Ferrari now the quali being delayed. Yeah, not ideal, guys. Not ideals, guys. But yeah, if you've got any questions, throw them our way. We're trying to get through this unfortunate postponement at the moment in qualifying. But big thank you for those of you tuning in. If we could hit the like button if you can. Hit that like button. 462 likes at the moment. Let's get this to 500 likes. Can we get it to 1,000? That'd be amazing, especially in this stream. But yeah, big thanks to the subs as always, guys, flying in. Much appreciated. I think we've had 90 subs this stream. We started at 32,000, so thank you. Do I think Ferrari will win the Constructors this year, Sonia? No, I think they're going to fall just short. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to fall just short. I mean, I do primarily think it depends on how Piastri and Sainz do, not so much on Leclerc and Norris. I think we know they're going to be up there, Sainz and Leclerc and Norris, but how good are Piastri and Sainz going to be in the remaining of these races? That's the intrigue for me. But yeah, I think it's going to go down to the last race. Currently, the gap is 44 points, I think, if we just have a look here. Oh, no, I can't see championship predictions just yet. But it's 44 points is what we saw last time around after this morning from the sprint race. Can Lando Norris win the Brazilian Grand Prix? Of course he can. Of course he can. Anyone goes wide onto the grass are basically going to drown. Yeah. How many races could the same qualifying session determine the grid for? Ooh, good question. I'm not entirely sure about that one. The track surely can't be that bad. I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but maybe because it's a new track surface, as we mentioned, there's not that much grip in the first place. Because it's had very little running beforehand. Maybe because it's still I think the primary reason is that it's still raining, so that standing water isn't going anywhere. So I think their mindset is probably thinking, even with the cars going round on the grid, the standing water is still just going to be replaced, even with the displacement of the cars running through the water. If it was I think if it stopped raining, I think we probably would have got underway right now, but that's the reason why. So I think that's what I'm going to assume. So good to see you, Stefano. No worries. What happened to Magnussen? Food poisoning. He ate some dodgy food, and he's probably been on the loo for the last 2 days. So yes, Ollie Behrman stepped in yesterday, and they announced this morning that Behrman's going to conduct the remaining of the weekend. So Gasly's loan maintenance company. What is that about? Open your bottle of beer, Peter. We'll see. They'll be fine on intermediates. I don't know. I mean, it's still raining. I'm watching the TV coverage now in the pit lane, and it's still raining, and that's the problem. It's not. It's just not passing. So. Oh wait, it is FP1 times. I'm waiting to hear. Hang on. How long will they see, or the quality is not there today? I reckon we've got maybe one more postponement. I reckon we've got one. I reckon 5 o'clock. I think we've got one more postponement, and that's it. If it doesn't get going, then we come back tomorrow, I think. So the weekend is over, 40 minutes till dark, and not allowed to race, and tomorrow it will rain more for the whole day. Yeah, we'll see. Sprint qualifying grid and race from 8 to 10 a.m. only rational way. The VA Supercars in Perth Sunday qualifying determined the grid for both Sunday races. Fastest lap for the first, second fastest. Could F1 be allowed to do the same at the GP? I don't know. I think, look, if you look at the debacle that was Spa, was it 2021? Wasn't it, with the half points? Was it Spa 2021? It wasn't 22, was it? Where we had those, like, they went out there, they just run a few laps under the safety car, and they counted it as a full race. Well, they gave half points, didn't they? Which was even worse, is that they didn't even reimburse the fans at the track for race day. They said, oh, because the cars got out on circuit, technically there was a race. Absolute bullshit. So that was the horrible thing about that race. But 100 subs, by the way. Thank you in this stream alone. Thank you, guys. Should have upgraded the drainage and used proper asphalt. Cheapskates. They do have a lot of sufficient drainage there. It's just Interlagos. I mean, they're susceptible to this. It's what makes the circuit so great. But unfortunately, this is too much, it seems. So. Imina has heavily armed cops around the track. Guns. Ooh, ready? Spa 21 was half points. Yeah, and it was 2021. Cool. Yeah, it was a George Russell podium in a Williams, nonetheless, wasn't it? What have you been doing? What have you been doing this whole time, Junior? We've been having our feet up. You not had your feet up for the last hour or so? Time to open another bottle of wine. You already threw a bottle of wine, Wicken. I may have to crack open something later as well. Don't think I've got anything in the fridge though. Not tinfoil, but it makes a lot of sense business-wise. I mean, yeah, but it's typical kind of corporate greed though, isn't it? I don't even think that's tinfoil. I think that's just standard corporate greed, not wanting to lose money. So, do I think that FIA is being biased with Max? I think they have been. I don't think so much now. But, as I've said before, the stewarding, the penalties that are dished out and the how you interpret the racing guidelines and the rules is dependent on the stewards you have that week. Now, next time around, we're probably going to have very different stewards, not the same stewards we've had last week and this week. And they may have a completely different way of interpreting the rules. And this is the problem with the current stewarding that we have. This rotation of different stewards per race. And they all interpret the rules very differently. So, when are we starting? Who knows, Spider? We're basically going to get another update in 5 minutes' time. But it's the fact it hasn't stopped raining. I'm not positive. I'm not positive at all. Well, you have 500 likes. Thank you, guys. If you could hit that like button and get, come on, can we get this to 1,000 likes? Go on, you can do it. Thanks for talking through us, buddy. It's been entertaining without the racing. Thank you, mate. I love F1. I love chatting F1. I love doing these watch-alongs. That's why I'm going to do more F1 content on the channel as well. So hopefully you'll like that. Hopefully you guys check the Lawson video out as well. The Lawson one, I think, has got... It's my most viewed video in a very long time. So a big thank you for everyone who tuned in and has liked that video. How many views? It's got 14,500 views nearly. So yeah, that's amazing. That's given me a bit of like, okay, bit of get up and go and do some more content like that. So you can't find anything in the regs online. What in regards to the restarts? Yeah, I don't know where it will be. Not everything is available online, Taco. Like the racing guidelines, they're not available online. So they're made a mention of, but they're that's the thing. They're kind of guidelines. They're not necessarily regulations. But yeah, not everything is online, unfortunately. You said who will get pole? I think none. Do I think Martin Brundle should be what? A steward or a commentator for Sky Sports? I think he should just be a steward. Sorry, not a steward. I think he should just be a commentator. I think, look, being a steward is a very different role to them being a pundit and a commentator. I do think that they should just have a set. It should just be the same stewards week in, week out, shouldn't it, really? So that we at least get some level of consistency throughout the duration of the year. That's the problem. We get a very different interpretation of the rules, don't we? Kind of from race to race sometimes. What do you think? What do I think of your question, Gavin? What was your question? I don't even know what your question was. Random question, but instead of taking fastest lap point away, can they make it that any driver can get that point to make it more interesting? They could. Yeah, they could. I don't know. I was never a fan of the fastest points, the fastest lap point anyway when it was introduced. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of it. And I know some people are going to have a go at me right now, when you have one team in particular that has another team that they own on the grid and that can be deployed to take away an extra point from their rivals, which there is a lot of evidence to suggest that has happened over the duration of this fastest points being introduced, fastest lap point. I think it's best just to remove it. So, and if you're wondering what teams they are, I'm talking about Red Bull and RB. So, Danny Rick, Liam Lawson, I still think was going to be deployed last time out in Mexico. Yuki Tsunoda has done a few times before. Like they've definitely have done. There's an unwritten rule somewhere, or there's a rule that they have, an agreement they have between RB and Red Bull that if you're not in a chance for points yourself, you pit and our rivals got fastest lap. You pit and you take a new set of softs and you take that fastest lap away from them. So. Thoughts on McLaren team orders of robbing Oscar of some genuine wins and not promoting racing? So Ahmad, this is a good question about team. So obviously team orders. No one likes to see team orders, right? But it's a part of F1. Always has been. And no driver, unless you're Max Verstappen, unless you're kind of Lewis Hamilton, where you've had only your teammate really to beat in the championship, has always had to rely at some point or another on their teammate to help them win the championship in not necessarily like giving positions back, but putting their car in between themselves and another driver and their championship rival. Lewis Hamilton had it a number of times where Valtteri Bottas was asked to move over for him. Interlagos 2021, he was asked to move over. Barcelona as well, if memory serves me rightly, that year. So it's always been a part of F1. Now, the argument, I get it, people just want to see racing, but put yourself in the position of McLaren as the team principal of McLaren. Oscar Piastri is mathematically out of this championship. He cannot win the World Drivers' Championship. One of your drivers can, and every point matters. It just makes sense to swap those positions. Now, there's also the argument against Piastri. If he didn't want these team orders to be imparted onto him or enforced, he should have done better throughout the duration of this season, which he hasn't. He hasn't been consistent enough to basically stand up and go, I'm not giving up these positions. He clearly doesn't want to. And I understand why. No driver wants to do that. But ultimately, he just has to do better next season so that he's not put in this position again. So, yeah. Allowing your two drivers to fight for a race win when you're at the tail end of a season, when one of them is mathematically... Sorry. Lost my train of thought there because qualifying has been postponed to 5 o'clock. That's got to be the last postponement, isn't it? That's got to be the last one. Can't be any more than that. Yeah, basically, it doesn't make sense to allow them to fight when one of your drivers is mathematically out of the championship and the other one is still in it and is actually the main driver chasing the Max Verstappen down, the leader down. So it's just always been part of F1. So QUALI probably tomorrow, Alvin. Probably tomorrow. Someone asked a question. What did I see? Question-wise, someone asked me a question. When they banned team orders, it was very bad. Very, very bad. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get it to an extent of like... There's been times when team orders shouldn't be enforced. So, like, very early on in the season, I think there was a time when Sergio Perez was leading at Barcelona and he was comfortably in the lead and he was asked to move over for Max. That was way too early in the season for him. I think that was 22 for him to move over to allow Max to win that race. I get that, but when you're in the latter end of the season or the tail end of the season, you just don't. I mean, you just have to think about winning both championships as possible. And of course, McLaren last won a World Drivers' Championship with Lewis Hamilton in 2008. And the Constructors title was did they win it? I don't think they won it in 2008, did they? But it's been a considerable amount of years since McLaren won the Constructors' Championship. They last won it in... What? Did they last win it in 1998? No way. Oh my god! So McLaren haven't won the the Constructors' Championship since 1998. So I get why they're putting a lot of emphasis on that. Their last Drivers' Championship was back in 2008 with Lewis Hamilton. There was a 9-year gap between that last win with Mika Hakkinen in 1999. So it's been, I mean, a considerable amount of time since they won either championship. But wow, I didn't expect it to be. I thought it was a lot sooner than that. So 98, Jesus. Someone did a maths there. What is that? Is that 16 years? No, it's more than 16 years. That's 26 years, isn't it? 26 years. 26 years since you last won a World Constructors' Championship. Holy moly. Holy moly. That's a long time. So I get why they're prioritising the Constructors. But ultimately, like, yeah. Just prioritise Lando. You can still get Oscar to finish P2. 2007 they won but got disqualified. So oh yes, yeah, yes. Spygate, wasn't it? Spygate. Yeah. Can we follow the conversation between the guide on the radio and the pilot? What, the AI messages? No, I'm going to remove that. Well, I don't show it. I've got what I need to show out on the screens, guys, so. Force on Perez's condition, like he is underperforming, it's costing Red Bull. Yes, so I think Red Bull are happy with, I mean, they're not happy with Perez, but they've accepted that Perez is who he is. Carlos Slim, I think, has put up a considerable amount of money. So he's a Mexican billionaire, the biggest sponsor of Sergio Perez, the sponsor that is going to be backing Colapinto, which is why there's been talks of Colapinto to Red Bull. So he's looking to move his money away from Sergio Perez to Colapinto, another South American. Yeah, I think Red Bull want third in the championship. I do. I think they want the additional aero time. You've got to remember they've had a lack of aero time, wind tunnel time due to the cost cap penalty. So there's been a lag of that. Of course, where they've won the championships recently, they've had less wind tunnel time. And of course, with a new regulation set coming up, and you can only start working on the new regs from next year. What a perfect time to get to some additional wind tunnel time. So I think it wouldn't surprise me if Carlos Slim has. There's been a negotiation there where Carlos Slim has basically offset the money they would lose from finishing in third in the constructors to first place, and that way they're not losing any money and they're actually just gaining additional wind tunnel time. Like, happy days, win-win. And of course, Red Bull, I think, have always been primarily focused on the Drivers' Championship anyway, then the Constructors, and there's still a very big possibility that Max Verstappen is going to win that Drivers' Championship. So what a year for them. This just means extra watch time. Lando needs to outscore Max by 7 or 8 points every round to keep the title going to Abu Dhabi. That would be only after this weekend, James. Technically, he needs to outscore him by 12 points. Every single race weekend, so he's got a good opportunity of winning, gaining some good points here this weekend. So we'll see. That average could come down. Will it be more reasonable to use today for FP2 and sprint qualifying for the grid, because tomorrow only from 8 till 1 is realistic to get this race done? Other times of the day will have more rain. I have no idea. I think they'll still want to get qualifying done if they can, but if the weather doesn't allow it, then yeah, you're gonna have to use another time, aren't you? Do you think Max will have a shot next year with this trajectory? I don't know. So there is a rumour, and I've taken it with a pinch of salt. There is a rumour about Max Verstappen's contract, that if he, at a significant portion of the season next year, we don't know at what time in the season that is, if he is not within the top 3 of the Drivers' Championship, it allows him a get out of his contract at Red Bull next year. And of course, there's been lots of discussions about him and Mercedes. Maybe that is still on the cards. I don't know. That is a rumor, not confirmed. I've seen that be floated about by a couple, which journalist was it? I can't remember which journalist it was. So yes, I think Red Bull on their current trajectory, I think they'll struggle next year. I do. I think at the moment they've got the attitude of, let's qualify as best as we can. Let's get ahead of Lando. Let's make Lando's life as difficult as possible. That's who we're fighting in this championship. And they can't have that attitude at the start of next year. They can't, because Ferrari's going to be quick. McLaren are going to be quick. We don't know which sort of Mercedes is going to turn up. And Max isn't going to be able to impart those tactics, and Red Bull won't be able to impart those tactics starting from scratch at the start of next season. So Max's new internal combustion engine is better than Norris's. I think the reason for a new one. Yes, well, he's taking a new one. How much of a performance boost it will give him, I don't know. It's only one part around that unit, so we'll see. I don't think anybody showed themselves to be world drivers. Yeah, do you know what? I agree, actually. So this is when you actually look back on it, guys, sit back, take a look back at this season. It's more so. It's been more so of a championship of who's made the least mistakes, and that is Max Verstappen. He has made the least amount of mistakes. Now, he's dug deep in a number of races and won some races that arguably he probably shouldn't have done. Imola comes to my mind in particular. Where was the other one he won? I can't remember. Barcelona as well. McLaren probably was the fastest car there. And he has made the least amount of mistakes. He is, even when his car hasn't been up to scratch, he is like damage limitation. And then you look at Ferrari, Charles Leclerc in particular, that like they have dropped the ball. Like Charles Leclerc could be leading this championship right now if he'd done a lot better, especially in the mid-season point where he had that terrible run of form. Charles Leclerc and Ferrari have dropped the ball massively. McLaren, I mean, biggest ball fumblers this year, really. I mean, especially if they don't win the Constructors Championship, that's unforgivable. And Mercedes, of course, have been very peaky, haven't they? So Max has just made the least amount of mistakes, and that's basically kind of like the championship, really. But sometimes that's how championships go. You're not always going to drive to the best of your ability. The car isn't always going to be the best, and that's how you do it. So nobody deserves it, but if anybody, then Max. Yeah, I think so, to be honest with you. Yeah, I do see why people say Norris doesn't deserve to be world champion. I get it. But sometimes just because you're not deserving of it doesn't mean that you don't win it or can't win it, you know? So there's been drivers who have probably deserved to win the championship more in recent years or just in the past, and they haven't. And that's just how sport goes, isn't it? So when are we going to get an update, guys? When are we going to get an update? So they seem to be updating us every 15 minutes. So can they postpone it any longer? It looks very dark in the paddock right now. The safety car is going back out for another run, as it has been. Looks same conditions as earlier. I don't have much faith this is going to get underway, guys. So I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes, can we? Go on. Nearly 2,000 of you here in the stream. Continue to hit that like button. And, of course, if you have yet to subscribe, please do. Regardless if qualifying doesn't get underway today, guys, we'll be back tomorrow, of course, for qualifying, hopefully in the morning. Or midday, whenever that session will happen, and of course we will be back for the race, most definitely. Going to be really intriguing, guys. You just had a shower. What's the latest? still where we were, Slim. Still where we were. Gap coming into this weekend between Max and Lando was 47 points. Lando needs to be 25 behind or less to take the title in the final race. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, we're about to get another one in a second, Orwin. Safety car is out there now. Just doing a sight in that. It doesn't look any better, to be honest with you. Doesn't look anything like it. It's still raining. It's still heavily raining. It just hasn't stopped. This isn't getting underway, unfortunately. They're still having a shower. Good one. Lewis can absolutely win, so please let qualifying happen. What happened with the quality? Is it rain? Yeah, just rain. And I'm looking at the TV coverage. It looks so dark. It looks so dark out there as well with the cloud cover. So subs are at 32.1k. Yeah, thank you guys. We've had over 100 subs this stream. We started at 32,000 this stream, and now we're at over 32. We're at 32,1114. Big thank you guys. Just watch to make sure it's a VCarb save that it will not be postponed after 5 o'clock, and the quali will probably be tomorrow morning. Okay. Thoughts on Audi Sauber? Can they make a good team and get better with the people they have been hiring? It's going to take them time. Well, the problem with Audi is that they're taking over a team that is at the back of the grid right now. Now, of course, we're heading into a new reg set, but if they were taking over, say, Haas, that would be better for them because there's already good groundwork there for them to go into, and they're not necessarily starting all the way from scratch. So I don't expect Audi to hit the ground running, to be honest with you. I have very, very, very low expectations, but hopefully they stick around to improve the team. They are fully taking over Sauber. It will no longer be Sauber. It will be Audi. It won't be Sauber Audi or Audi Sauber. They're taking over all of the facilities, and Audi will be Audi F1. But the transition for Audi is not as simple as people think. The personnel who are influential in bringing Audi into F1 are now no longer there. So they've moved on, or they're in different roles in Audi. So I still don't think appointing Miguel not Miguel? Sorry, Bonotto. I can't remember what is Bonotto's first name. I forgot Bonotto's first name, guys. What is Bonotto's first name? Mattia Bonotto. Mattia Bonotto. I don't think he's really like a decent appointment, if you ask me. I don't think he's a team principal. I don't think he's really a leader, a strong leadership character. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the vibe I got at Ferrari. And yeah, I'm not overly enamoured by their appointments. They've got Jonathan Wheatley going in there, who's got no experience as a team principal. Of course, James Vowles didn't have experience as a team principal either, and he's doing all right at Williams. But yeah, I have very, very low expectations for them. So no, it's not going to happen today, is it? It's not going to happen. We're going to wait. We've just got a couple more minutes until we get confirmation. So who do I see being the World Drivers' Championship and Constructors next season? Oh, I don't know. I really couldn't even guess at the moment. I just hope it's close, like we have had this season. So Mattia Binotto is not a good choice. Yeah, I agree. I just think it's an uninspiring appointment. I really do. So Binotto is tech lead at Audi, not team principal. Sorry, tech lead. I mean, yeah, but he's in a senior position to Jonathan Wheatley, though, isn't he? He's still in a leadership role. So I'm just not overly enamoured by it. But Faults and Briatore coming back to Alpine. He is purely there to asset strip the team. Alpine. I would be very surprised if Alpine is in F1 at the end of next season. They'll be bought out by someone. Maybe Andretti, maybe, I don't know. They'll be bought out. Alpine will not be there. They've already decided to get rid of their engines and they're going to Mercedes. Apparently they're looking to get rid of a lot of their land. Like, they are asset stripping. That's all that Briatore has been brought in to do. So Alpine want out of F1. There we go. Damn it, guys. Qualifying is postponed. Start of qualifying is postponed. There we go. Qualifying. Radar is just pure blue. No clearing of this rain, and qualifying has been postponed. Damn it. Damn it, guys. Need to hear whether or not they're going to move it to tomorrow morning now. We'll still stay on the line, guys. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll figure out whether or not this is going to be postponed to what their intentions are. Whether they're going to just run qualifying tomorrow or if they're going to just go from previous results. So we'll see. It says has been postponed until Sunday morning is what Chris Medland has just told us. So you guys, Taco, here's your answer, by the way, mate. You were stating you couldn't find anything in the regulations about qualifying or about the starting grid. So Chris Medland, who is a very reputable journalist in F1, go follow him if you don't already. He's got like 250,000 followers on Twitter. Running out of time to get qualifying in today, and if it's postponed, the first aim will be to run the session tomorrow morning. If that's not possible, it's up to the stewards how the grid is ordered. Which means if it's up to the stewards, Johnny Herbert is going to go on FP1 results because Max will start in P20, won't he? Sorry, I couldn't resist. No provision in the current sporting regulations for this scenario. So I think that's primarily due to, of course, the sprint race weekend. But as we mentioned, FP1 is Max Verstappen with his 5-place grid penalty would start last. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, qualifying has been postponed. That's really unfortunate, guys. That's really unfortunate. Even Johnny is not that evil. I know. Thoughts on Newey to Aston Martin? I mean, it's good for them. It's good for them. I don't think he'll have as big of an influence as people think he's going to, though, because it's not really an aero-driven regulation change. It's more so engine. Yeah, no, see you tomorrow, Scott. I forgot they're the best drivers in the world, and I can't. That's nonsense. It's clearly started in the last 3 practice results. Yeah, is it stated? I mean, I don't know. They were stating that on Sky as well. There's nothing in the sporting regs that state it, so maybe it's been changed. So, what if the race gets postponed? If the race gets postponed, then I think there would be no points because you can't even get out there and do any running. So I think there would be no points. McLaren versus McLaren next season. Your thoughts? Could be. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I think Ferrari is going to be strong. McLaren will be. We always know Max digs deep in that Red Bull. But yeah, I think we're at least going to get the Ferraris and the McLarens go at each other next year. So What happened to Lewis driving Senna's car? I think that's been postponed as well. So, which is a shame for him. Am I a Max fan? Yeah, I'm not a Max fan. I've openly admitted I'm not a Max fan. But I respect Max with his talent and his and how quick he is. I do wish that he would not drive the way that he does. I don't think he needs to. And that's it, yeah. Can't keep my eyes open, so hopefully see you tomorrow on your stream. Yeah, no worries, Pat, no worries. But yeah, this has been a chat-along, Drew, hasn't it? It's been a chat-along, not really a watch-along. So apologies, guys, in regards to that. I was hoping that we'd get some qualifying. But yeah, as you can see there from the statement from Chris Medland, there is no running for qualifying today. It's just not raining. It's just not stopped raining. I think if it had stopped raining, they probably would have got drivers out there, but unfortunately, it's not the case. So it's just not the case. I disagree. I think the sprint qualifying will be the grid and another Belgium half points. I don't know. I think they remember the half point situation and they don't like it. I don't think that will happen. So I'm trying to see. Hang on. They're stating, hang on Sky TV. So Karun Chanhok is saying he thinks we should use the sprint qualifying results to decide the grid, and I think that's probably what they'll do. I think if they can't do it, they'll probably look at it in that regard. So just looking at FIA Sporting regulations, the nearest guide to how the Brazil GP grid will be formed if qualifying cannot take place is 39.4b, which details grid order if no times are set. So let's have a read of this, shall we? Let's have a read of this so that you guys can see what this actually says in this thread. So this is, so as we just mentioned, there's no actually set guidelines in regards to this. So John Noble, who's also, is he? I think he's Autosport. It states, so as we just mentioned there, 39.4b of the sporting regulations, which details grid order if no times are set. Go back. If drivers who are unclassified because of conditions will be allocated the top positions in accordance with the order they were classified in P3, or in the case the sprint session is scheduled. So that effectively means P1 order will decide the starting grid, which would be dramatic for the championship. P1 on Friday, Lando Norris was first, Max Verstappen was down in 15th, but the Red Bull driver, as we know, has a 5-place grid penalty for an engine change. That would mean going to the back. So that states there, drivers who are unclassified will be allocated the top positions in a course. So it only makes reference to P1, to FP1. That's mad. That's absolutely mad. And if you're unfamiliar with the FP1 grid, FP1 standings, Brazil, I will show it to you guys so that you are familiar. This is motorsport.com. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. This is Planet F1. So we can see here. So you can see here. Max Verstappen, P15. He would start from P20 with that 5-place grid penalty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Lando Norris would start on pole. His teammate would start 4th. Charles Leclerc 6th. Carlos Sainz 7th. Ollie Behrman would be P3. Oh wow. Imagine that. Imagine, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me if they do. Johnny Herbert is the steward. So. Watch someone say the rain is rigged. Fans delusional. I know. How to stop Max? Cancel rain qualifying. Yeah. FP1 it is, although Lewis is P15, that would be interesting. Yeah, Lewis would just be like, oh, really? If it rains the same tomorrow, will the race take place or get cancelled? I reckon they might get the drivers out there to try and displace the water. But other than that, that's it. Yeah. Oh, Lewis Hamilton has literally just put Stefano Domenicali on the spot. And he just went, let's put the wet tyres on and we'll be able to run in this. Let's go. So Lewis Hamilton wanted to get out there. They call QUALI because it's unsafe for the resurfaced track. Yeah, I think it's primarily the fact of it was raining still. It was raining quite heavy, and they're not happy or convinced that even with drivers out there on circuit, they'd be able to displace enough water while it was still raining. If it had stopped raining or if it was a light drizzle, they would probably stop it and they would be able to continue. They'd be able to get cars out there. But yeah, unfortunately, it was just still raining too heavily. Does Johnny Herbert have the power to make FP1 grid race for race start? I mean, I'm only going from what we've seen from this tweet, which is from Chris Medland. Now, he's very reputable. If you're unaware of who Chris Medland is, he's a freelance F1 journalist, has been working F1 for years, as you see, like 269,000 followers. I highly recommend you give him a follow because if you want something confirmed, him and John Noble and like Joe Saywood and stuff, they're guys who you can trust, unlike some of the rumour sites, shall we say. But yeah, qualifying's been postponed till Sunday morning. It's not possible to steward how the grid is ordered. No provision in current sporting regulations. So he's saying it's up to the stewards, but John Noble was stating that it is potentially, he's saying the regs kind of state P1, FP1. That's basically it. So yeah. The rain helps Max and Lewis. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't help Max, that's for sure, if it's FP1 tomorrow start. So why don't they do this on the basis of sprint qualifying? Because there isn't. I don't think we've had this in the sprint race weekend before. I think that's primarily why. This might be an oversight of the FIA, not including this within the regulations, that they haven't thought about this scenario. So maybe they still will. Maybe they will. Or maybe they'll just go back to what is kind of on the basis of the regs. But no doubt after this weekend, the regs, this scenario, whatever ends up happening, will be written into the regs, I reckon. So, but if it all rained too much tomorrow, they would get half points. So even FP1 wouldn't hurt Max that much. Oh, it would, starting in, well, half points is still 12.5 points. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't hurt him as much as possible, but it would mean he's already gained 3 points because he finished P1 and Max finished P4 with that 5-second time penalty, which demoted him. So that would mean 12.5 points. I mean, 15.5 points gain. So let's say that was the scenario, right? 15.5 points gain on Max. Oh, God, I've got to do some maths now, haven't I? Let's see. What is the driver's standings at the moment? Let's have a look. Drivers F1 standings. What would that mean? What would that mean in regards to some more rain is predicted tomorrow, by the way. So 367 to 323. So 367 take away 323 take away 15.5 would mean that'd mean a 28.5 points difference. Now you divide that by 3 race weekends, that's 9.5 points he needs in the last 3 weekends. Is that right? Is that right? Or is it 31.5? What's the point of having wets if they're never used? Do what Lewis said and put blankets on them. Yeah. Why did Max get the penalties anyway? So Jake, if you're unfamiliar what happened, he basically, short answer of it is, he's sped under the safety car. There's a delta that they have to, or the VSC, there's a delta they have to achieve and they cannot go above that. Basically means like gaining time, and that's what he did. Max was trying to get a launch basically on Piastri on the safety car ending, and he just misjudged it timely and he went too early, which means that he gained technically an advantage, and that's a 5-second time penalty. There are new regs that changed the way that points are handed out, I think, after Spa. That's what I thought. I thought after that, they thought, no, we're not doing that again. So, Red Bull Racing, the new Sauber, if FP1 is taken. I know. So, yeah, that is... Let's just go back to that. That is the FP1 grid. That is mad, isn't it? That is mad. Sergio Perez... It would be... I forgot that. No, it wouldn't quite, because Zhou Guanyu would get promoted. I was about to say it would be a back row start for the Red Bull cars. Jesus. Hey, mate, good to see you. If it's a personal question, what is my height? I'm 6'2" and a bit. 6'2.5", basically. Without shoes. With shoes, I'm a bit taller. Let's use that in case of rain. I think they may do that, Lamza. I think that's probably the logical thing to do. But this would definitely spice things up a bit if it does go to FP1. So, why don't they do quali when rain complete stop at like night time? So, because they don't have lights over the race circuit. So, and it's also for like safety reasons with the fans and so forth as well. Perez starting above Verstappen though. It had nothing to do with Piastri in front. Yeah, right. People were saying VSC was very biased. So I do think that's Ahmad, I think that's a reasonable question. And I'm still yet to see really an explanation from the FIA on that virtual safety car deployment. I don't know if they will, because they're not exactly transparent, are they, the FIA? But I think it's a valid question. What was the process of that virtual safety car being released? Because it is a bit dubious time, and it did seem like it was quite a long time. So, from Nico Hulkenberg putting over, and then that virtual safety car being called. So, I think ultimately McLaren they fucking got lucky earlier on. McLaren, they got so lucky. I don't know why they didn't swap those positions earlier. They got so lucky. It's either perfect timing, or that, like, yeah, there was maybe something dodgy about it. I'm not ruling it out, but it was just very, very lucky from their part that they did it in time that they did. Usually everyone is more consistent. There's an FP at every GP, whereas sprints are only a handful a year. Who knows? Who knows, Jem? Who knows? We'll see. I'm waiting for, no doubt we'll get confirmation on it. Will they announce that today and tonight? I don't know. Maybe they will, because I'm sure journalists will be looking at it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You can be guaranteed Christian Horner and Red Bull Racing will be kicking up a fuss if they do base it off FP1 because of that very reason. They'll be wanting it to be based on the sprint quali because Max qualified in P4, which means he'll start in 9th. So, it's your birthday today, Amy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Don't be sad. There's still more F1 this weekend. Nico stayed in the car a long time before he get out. Ain't not selling if he was going to get moving, to be fair, hence the yellow flag. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what they'll say. But how long do you then determine whether or not he can get the car moving again or not? I don't know. So we'll see. Matt's got that 5-second time penalty for doing exactly the same as he did with Lewis in Abu Dhabi. No, it wasn't. So there's slightly different rule, Johnny. So back then you were allowed to get alongside the lead car, or you was able to get up alongside the car ahead of you. But then they changed that rule after 21 because they kind of called it intimidation and they were like, it's not fair. So safety car rules now are that you have to stay behind the car in front. And under virtual safety car, there is no actual rule that you can't do that. Because really, when the virtual safety car is called, you're very, very rarely alongside someone. So you're not going to then maintain the same delta to that car in front or that gap in front when the safety car then gets ended. So that's primarily why that rule isn't a big factor and not really in place under the VSC, but it is under the safety car. Sprint result is quali for race. We'll see. Has that definitely been confirmed? Has that definitely been confirmed? We'll see. We'll see. Why is there another 3-week gap to Vegas? I don't think there is a 3-week gap to Vegas, is there? Let me have a look. Oh, fuck, there is. Excuse my language, guys. I did not think we had a 3-week gap to Vegas. What is going on with these gaps? Why have we got so many 3-week gaps? I understand like the teams need it because they've just ended another triple header. But why is there any need for these to be triple headers? Why could we not spread these races out? I'd much prefer that, would you not? We're going to have a 3 week. Oh my god, honestly. Honestly. Who knows? Quali's they're gonna try and get it again tomorrow, but as we said with the weather report, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Okay, so the FIA have stated... Let's show you guys this. The FIA have just stated... Oh. So midday tomorrow UK time is when qualifying will get underway, guys. So we'll set the stream up for that. Of course, turn your notifications on to be alerted when it starts. So a decision on the start time. That's what Ted Kravitz has just reported to me. He reckons it's going to be 12 o'clock midday, but of course we'll get confirmation as the FIA have stated here with a tweet just now, which is qualifying for Sao Paulo Grand Prix is postponed. The decision was taken due to lack of visibility caused by the level of rain we have experienced in the past few hours. There's a lot of standing water on parts of the circuit, which renders conditions unsafe. As much as we would like all to see competition on track, the safety of drivers, team members, volunteers, officials and spectators is our main priority. A decision on a start time for qualifying tomorrow morning will be taken as soon as possible. So I don't think there's any further update on that. No. So I'll keep an eye out on that to see exactly what will happen. We need more races and more teams. Yeah, sprint result I think will determine quali if they don't run one. Maybe. Hang on. Is there anything else? I mean, I'm watching Ted Kravitz now, and it's still raining in the pit lane. So, nothing about tomorrow yet. Nothing about tomorrow yet, guys. So it may be that I just have to just set the stream up for when it is, for when we eventually can go live. So, or when we find out. Sorry. How would they know there is a lack of visibility if they didn't put the cars on? So there was low-level light, Taco, when you think about it. And, of course, they weren't happy about, as I mentioned, the fact it hadn't stopped raining. So regs specify FP3 lap times will determine the place unqualified cars. FP1 times are used if there is a sprint race. Yeah, is that basically what John Noble's tweet is here? So it states drivers who are unclassified because of conditions, one or two, will be allocated the top positions in accordance with the order they were classified in P3. Or in the case of a sprint session, is scheduled P1. Max is starting last tomorrow, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god. 9 AM start. What? Their time or our time? 12 is 8 AM Brazilian time, is it? Okay. We'll see. No, Magnussen isn't racing, Junior. No, Magnussen isn't racing. Unfortunately, he has he's got food poisoning, so Ollie Behrman is in his stead. So, well, we had 4,830 something votes on who will be on pole position. Well, that didn't really pay out well, did it? That didn't pan out. Because the reg doesn't state sprint qualifying music, yeah. So, I mean, I reckon the regs will probably be altered in the future, maybe, to accommodate sprint qualifying results. But it should maybe be sprint qualifying. And then if sprint qualifying can't happen, then, like, FP1 or the last free practice session takes precedence, you know. So, imagine Checo put defense for what Max did in 22. That would be crazy. 6 AM for you. Yeah, not ideal. Where's the option for Bernd Mailander? He's the only one who set a lap out there. But yeah, if he starts from the back, I mean, you'd think he'd still score points. Of course he will. But how many points can he score? That's the thing. That is the question. So, yeah. It'd be worst case scenario, wouldn't it, really, for Max starting at the back? Bet they wish they took a new PU. I know. I mean, it's still not confirmed. We still don't know. We still don't know if that will be the case. So we're still yet to find that out. So yeah, we've got to wait. Yeah, definitely. So obviously we've got that confirmation. It's definitely postponed. Yeah, 10 minutes ago. FIA says a decision on a start time for qualifying tomorrow morning will be taken as soon as possible. So we still don't definitely know. We still don't definitely know, but we'll wait and find out, won't we? So, stupid F1 rules. Does Leclerc have a chance of winning the World Championship? Technically speaking, he still does, but probably not. No, probably not now. Their time 3 hours difference, so noon UK time. Okay, so noon UK time. Yeah, I think that'll be the case if it's 9 AM. The race is initially supposed to start tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time. So that would be a 2 p.m. start, wouldn't it? 2 p.m. start in the afternoon for Brazil. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah, really. And with the weather report tomorrow not looking good, as we mentioned, just one last time, show you guys what the weather looks like for tomorrow. Doesn't look good. Interlagos weather. We can see here that tomorrow, you can see here, doesn't look good. Precipitation, 88% at 6. I mean, what is it now? Getting lower now, but tomorrow is very high as well, so not looking good. Kind of feel like F1 is now playing cautious with the rain. I can't remember the last time we saw full wets. Yeah, I mean, Lewis wants to get out there. Lewis was like, let's just get out there. Let's put tyre blankets on. Let's get out there. But I think that they're just worried about visibility, aren't they? They're just so worried about visibility. You're in the paddock at the moment, are you, Amy? How wet is it? I think it actually looks like it's slowing down. That's the typical thing. But now we've run out of daylight because daylight's supposed to about to end. So can't see them delaying the race of QUALI. I'd say 2 to 2 p.m. QUALI start. Anything over, and it's probably FP1 SQ lineup. Yeah. Lewis would have gotten pole. I think he would have been hoping for it. That's why he wanted to get out there, Lewis, because he loves racing in the rain. He knows that's where he can drag a car that's not performing well up to the front. So. Maybe for the weather they should switch to F1 eSport game to decide. But yeah, guys, that is basically it. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's been eventful. It's been a good chat. It's been a chat along, not just chatting stream, not a watch along, unfortunately. But yeah, qualifying, we still yet to find out when that's going to be announced. So we'll find out, no doubt, soon enough. But yeah, nothing yet. So I will have to set up another stream, of course, for qualifying and the race tomorrow. I think the race is going to start no matter what at the time it's set for. But yeah, as we said, it could be FP1, but the times are set on. Just to remind you one more time, that would mean Max Verstappen would start from the back of the grid with a 5-place grid penalty. Lewis Hamilton there, of course, at the back as well. Lando on pole position. Oscar Piastri P4, Ollie Behrman P3, George Russell P2, not bad for him. Alex Albon up there in P5. So real mixed up grid there, to say the least. Max will lose nothing by starting from the back. You think? I mean, definitely wouldn't want to start from the back, would he? So if they go with FP1 standing, Russell will lead after the first turn, you reckon? Be interesting. It'd be very interesting. But yes, guys, I'm now going to call this a night. I really appreciate everyone who's been tuned into the stream. I mean, there's still how many of you? Over 1,000 of you here in this stream, just chilling with me right now. So big thank you. I'm now going to go spend some time with the family, have some dinner myself. I suggest you guys go do the same. Big thank you for spending your last few hours with me, and we'll be back tomorrow for qualifying. Hopefully we get some qualifying. If not, it will be the FP1 session. So turn your notifications on for when that stream is going to go live. You can obviously hang around in the waiting room there. And then, of course, we have the race in the afternoon. So, yeah. Could be double F1 tomorrow. Could be double F1. Could be a very, very interesting weekend. It could be very, very influential in this title race. If Max Verstappen, as an example, doesn't score points tomorrow and Lando wins, that's 28-point gain that he has had over this weekend, which is the sort of gain that people thought would never happen. So, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, have a lovely rest of your evening, guys, or morning, wherever you are in the world. I know some of you, it is already Sunday, and you've been patiently sticking around to this stream. So, yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. Continue to hit that like and subscribe button. Turn those notifications on. And, yeah, hopefully we'll find out when qualifying is actually going to get underway tomorrow. See you then. Bye.